Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will empower you to become that confident leader and take your business and your life to the next level. Today, I have with me Jen Paterson, and let me speak to you about who Jen is. So Jen is the founder of Dollar Divas, a money coaching company that supports female entrepreneurs or mompreneurs who need financial assistance with their businesses. With more than 12 years of experience, Jen has mastered the psychology of money, the step-by-step process of growing a business, and the art of creating financial stability. Today, our interview title is going to be Mompreneurs, and I love that I'm here because I think one of my very first podcasts was directed towards mompreneurs, my first guest. So it's good that I'm taking full circle back to there. My guest is Jen Paterson, and let me welcome Jen.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I am so excited to have you on. And for all of the newbies or people who are in the process of maybe a few years, like I'm now in my second year, money is always challenging as you're trying to build awareness, build your network, and you go to coaching and the money goes out faster than it comes in sometimes. So I'm anxious to have you share your wisdom and your advice with the audience. We always, though, start with a very easy question for you, and that's just to tell the audience where you live.
Absolutely. So I live on the west coast of Canada on Vancouver Island in Victoria, BC, and have lived here. I was just thinking about it the other day. It's going on 13 years now, almost 14 years. And I live here with my husband, my two kids, and my very neurotic dog.
So where did you grow up, though?
I grew up on the lower mainland of Vancouver in a small town called White Rock. So I didn't go very far.
No, you didn't. Just a plain right away. I was in Vancouver for a Toastmaster convention and never got the time to fly over to my name state, Victoria. So that's on my list to still do because I know that it's very lovely. And one of my Toastmaster friends lives there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful city. I love living here. I originally moved over to complete my degree in economics at the University of Victoria here. I completely fell in love with the city. And when I graduated, my husband and I, at the time, we were just dating. And my intention was for us to move back to Vancouver. It's where our families were. Yeah. And I just said, I'm not leaving. I hope you'll stay with me. And bless him, he did.
Oh, awesome. So share your journey and how your mindset evolved as you founded the Dollar Divas in support of female entrepreneurs, because, that's what my goal and mission is, to support those female entrepreneurs and many of which are moms.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So that could be, we could literally spend an entire hour just talking about that, but I'll try and keep it short. So I founded Dollar Divas back in 2012 at the beginning of my career in finance. I was a financial advisor at the time, and I found that everywhere I went, no one took me seriously as, when we talked about money, regardless of the fact that, I had education behind me. I, had always studied money my entire life. I worked, in a credit counseling firm. Was fully licensed. I had a degree in economics. Like, I was a very knowledgeable individual when it came to money. And yet, whenever we would go to a bank or we would go talk to anyone in finance or even out networking, got the impression, and even people telling me outright that, what do you have to bring to the table? And, what is like, why should I listen to you when it comes to money? And a lot of that was because I was female. And so I was looking around to try and find like-minded women who wanted to talk about money, and it just didn't seem to exist. There wasn't an opportunity for women to gather, to talk about money, to learn about money, and, further our financial lives. And so I put my head together with a girlfriend of mine, and we came up with Dollar Divas. And at the very beginning of it, it was just a way for women to gather to talk about money and to educate each other and to discuss money in a place that was kind, that was open, that was transparent, that was friendly, and didn't talk down to women.
Yeah.
And I found, just even doing that, obviously this is all pre-COVID and all that. So, gathering together and talking about money was so empowering and so exciting to watch the transformations, not only of myself and my partners, but also of the women that attended our events. And I was bitten by the bug, shall we say, at that point. And I decided that I was going to dedicate my life and my career to helping women improve their relationship with finances. And as my career evolved and my life evolved and I started having kids, the life of a financial advisor just didn't align with how I wanted to be a mom. And so that was when I went into, coaching and doing things sort of on my own practice and on my own terms. And Dollar Divas evolved with that. And the Dollar Divas brand has kind of evolved into my coaching practice, which is where I am now. And my mindset throughout this entire journey has really been continuously evolving because, I've changed. I've had different experiences. I've worked with a lot of different individuals in different circumstances. And I always come back to the fact that you can never know everything, but you can be really good at some things. And, money and finance is a colossal topic.
Yes,
you could literally study it every moment of your entire life and still not even crack the surface.
There's
so I just decided I was going to get really good at this one little piece of the puzzle, and I was going to teach women how to handle their money because I saw the disconnect. In doing, Dollar Divas events, I came across the same circumstances over and over again, where there were women who were like phenomenal at their given trade and loved their jobs, loved their businesses, loved their careers, had no problem bringing in revenue and clients. And yet they were still living paycheck to paycheck, feast and famine, that hustle culture, oh my gosh, I'm running out of money. I got to go and get some new clients. And I'm thinking, why is that? Where is the disconnect? And it came down to the fact that nobody was teaching them the basic cash flow management strategies that it takes to be successful. And then I added kids into the mix, and I realized not only did I have to teach this stuff, I had to teach it in a way that was quick, efficient, and intuitive so that the people that I'm working with can spend less time staring at spreadsheets and more time doing the things they love, being with their kids, and enjoying the life that they've worked so hard to create. And internally, that's been a big aha moment for me, was accepting the fact that this stuff needs to be simple. It can't be complicated, and really embracing the simplicity of a truly unique financial system that actually works.
Very good.
That was a very, very long answer. I tried to keep it short and it didn't go well.
No, you can't really. And that thing that makes it challenging is that there are so many different scenarios to the situation. It's not just one kind of solution, because there are all these different things that are feeding into the issues or the problems or the circumstances that make it really important that, you know, you talk to your coach about all those things. So
It does. Yeah. I'm sorry. I was just gonna expand on that. You know, like myself and my husband, between the two of us, we actually own 6 different businesses. So we manage our finances in the same manner with each business, but each business is so wildly different that even 2 of the exact same people with the exact same mindsets, each business is managed differently because they each have different unique needs and expectations, client, you know, challenges, and they all are managed a little bit differently. And that's only within one household. And now then you add things like different people's circumstances and their own mindsets, and there is no one size fits all, particularly when it comes to mindset and strategy and finances. That's
very true. So with your 12 years of coaching people, you really have to kind of work with what role does mindset have for the growth of that entrepreneur to be able to overcome the challenges, because it really is, as you said, feast or famine. And it's easy, especially for women, with the oftentimes of questioning their worth and their belief in themselves and all those things. How do you handle all that to keep them motivated, to keep them believing in themselves and understanding that they can do this?
Yes, absolutely. And honestly, that is something that I deal with all the time in my practice. And it's a myriad of different challenges that people bring to the table, because we all have a unique story when it comes to money, and we all have our own memories and experiences and biases that we, you know, come to the table with. And a lot of those can be very detrimental to the growth of a business, you know. And I like to say mindset and strategy have to work hand in hand if you're really going to be successful. You know, you can't have only mindset work and then sit on the couch and think nice thoughts and expect things to happen. But at the same time, if all you're focused on in the strategy, meanwhile thinking, I can't do this, I'm always going to be broke, I can't afford it, life is so hard, I hate money, then you're going to find ways to self-sabotage subconsciously, and you're going to create a self-fulfilling prophecy. So they have to work hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. And when I'm working with people's mindsets, we always start at the beginning. So where are you right now? What's happening with your finances? Like, let's have an actual look at your accounts and your ins and outs and all that. But then we dive even deeper and go back to their childhoods. How were you raised with money? What are your first money memories? What are the things that stick out to you as a child when your parents would talk about money? Was it behind closed doors? Was it always sort of spoken about with negative tones? Were you involved in the financial decisions of your family? If so, how did your parents ask you about those things? We really dig into some of those childhood early memories, because that can really shape how we interact with money as an adult. And so, going through some of that, it's amazing how many aha moments my clients have just in doing those basic exercises of talking about, those early childhood memories and how they repeat themselves over and over again in their adulthood. So we dig through that, and then we start working on the reprogramming. And that's the hard part. And it's a slow journey, and it's never going to be something that you can just tick off a list. This is something I've been doing for at least 12, 15 years now. And there's still things that come up that I need to work on, because money mindset is not something you can tick off a list. It's a lifelong journey. So, working through those things. And then the other one that comes up all the time, particularly with women, is being okay with wanting to make a lot of money.
Yeah. Or charging.
And it sounds very silly when you say it out loud, but we all hear the societal pressure of, you don't want to be greedy, you don't want to, be too selfish and all of these things. And we don't want to, money is the root of all evil and all of this other stuff. And really, creates an entirely difficult environment for us to be successful in. And, learning how to shut that stuff out and reprogram and being okay with saying, I want to be wealthy. I want to make a lot of money. And helping women understand that money is not the enemy. Money's just the tool that you use to create what you want, whether that is chaos and destruction or beauty. That is really in the hands of whoever the money is with. It's not the money's fault. And working through that challenge is something that I spend a lot of hours doing with my clients.
And I think one of the things that really helps is, what are you doing with that money? Are you just like in Scrooge, putting in a drawer somewhere all for yourself, or are you needing that money to make a difference in the world, to change people's lives, to help your family or whatever? When you have those kind of goals that are not personal in terms of just benefiting you, it makes money not seem such a evil thing or whatever. It's the resource that you need to make a difference in the world and to give of your time and talents to help others.
Absolutely. And, I always like to liken money to a chef's knife. So you think about a chef's knife, and in the hands of someone who's a Michelin star chef, they're going to create beauty. They're going to create something that is so amazing and so delicious. And you're going to be amazed by what they can create with this knife.
Yeah.
And in the hands of a serial killer, it's going to create death and destruction. And yet, just sitting on a counter, a knife is just a knife.
Yeah.
And most of us would see a knife and go, it's a knife, and not have any baggage attached to it. Whereas with monies, because it's so linked to our survival, suddenly we have all these stories and this baggage that comes along with it. We don't see it for what it is. It's just the tool. It's the catalyst that makes other things happen. So, you can decide how you utilize that money. And if you want to go out in the world and be helpful and help others and create amazing things, the thing that's going to make that possible and a heck of a lot easier is having a lot of finances behind you. Having a lot of cash behind you is going to just smooth that road as much as possible in order for you to actually accomplish those things. If you're constantly worried about where your next dollar is coming from, then you're not going to be able to do the things that you want to do in life. Right. And being okay with that and really honing in on, yes, I want to make money. And being okay saying that out loud.
So what are some of the strategies that you share with people to, especially, I guess, if you're just starting and you need seed money? I mean, like for when I started, I was retired and I had income. And one of my coaches always kept on saying, if you didn't have that money, you would be more hungry to get money in other ways. Which I think is true oftentimes, that we don't really think about the fact that we do need to make those calls and send those emails and things out to build our network of people that are customers and clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, like that's more of a sort of a business coach's purview, is how to motivate you to get out the door and make the calls and do the things that are required. But one of the things that I always like to remind my clients of, particularly when, they're dealing with finances and they may not want to, or things like that, is habits are what's going to be there when everything else fails. Motivation, determination, these things are really fickle and, they will wane very quickly. Whereas your habits, that's the thing that's there no matter what. So strategically creating habits that are going to serve you is the way to be successful. And it's these little tiny things that you can just do without thinking that's going to lead to success. So, for example, maybe it's responding to DMs in Instagram. So you can tag on a habit of, every time I pick up my phone, I'll answer one DM. Because we all pick up our phone 1,000 times a day, right? Like, so if you can create that habit of, I just open my phone, I immediately go to Instagram and answer a message in my inbox, great. And it's those little tiny things that can really make a difference in creating sustainable growth in your businesses. Those little tiny habits that you just do consistently right? The name of the game is always consistency. And it's a matter of creating it strategically around what's going to move the needle for your business. But honestly, I would say that's definitely more of a business coach question.
So do you coach them on how to set up their budget, their profit loss, or if they were trying to get funding from a VC or someone, how to create a good business plan type of thing?
I don't have a ton of experience with VCs, in all honesty. But in terms of creating like a spend plan, and I don't like to use the word budget because honestly, budgets and entrepreneur life, they don't mesh because we can't predict what we're going to make month to month. So we always like to call it more of like a spend plan than a budget. But that is my bread and butter of what I teach. And one of the things that I always go through with my clients is setting up not only like their business bank account, which every business needs to have. I'm going to say it from the rooftops. Please do not mix your business dollars with your personal dollars. That is just a recipe for a headache. So, make sure you have that all separated out into different accounts, but also within your business banking, I set up what I call the bank account architecture, which is a series of different bank accounts, all with different jobs to do. And that's where that simple and easy and intuitive side of it comes in, because I always sort of liken it to a sock drawer. So you think about a sock drawer, and there's always that one that we can picture in our minds that's just chaos. There's socks everywhere and everything's matched, and trying to find a match is, kind of like beating your head against a wall, and it takes forever and it's exhausting. And when you have all of your finances in one account, it's very much the same way. You have to constantly keep either in your head or in a spreadsheet what that money is supposed to be doing, and it's exhausting. Whereas when you portion it out into different bank accounts, it's really easy to see in an instant where you stand, what that money is supposed to be doing for you, and how you can use it strategically to grow your business, pay yourself, save for emergencies, and all of those other things that the dollars need to do, and keep it from slipping through your fingers, because money is very, very slippery. We all know it, right? It can disappear in an instant, and all of us thinking, okay, I know I made some money. What happened to it? Using an architecture will prevent that.
So tell us more about what some of those, if you will, bank account buckets would look like or be called.
Absolutely. So in a basic architecture, I always like to start with the central deposit account. So that's a catch-all for any money incoming. I really leaned into this, especially lately, because I've noticed that the way we do business now, money comes at us from multiple different spots. It's not just we have one central place where we all collect money. It's coming from PayPal or Venmo or Square or Stripe. I mean, I literally have one of my businesses, or all the above, that we have 5 different places that we collect funds from. And so I have the central deposit account where it all goes. And from there, it really depends on the business, but a basic architecture would be, a separate account for your tax dollars. That money does not belong to you. You don't want to be spending it. And when tax season comes around, it's so much less stressful when you've got an account that's just waiting to be paid to the government rather than having to go out, bring in new business to pay that bill, right? That's a completely different experience. And it's way less stressful to have just the money waiting. So having a tax account is really, really important. Having another one that's just for emergencies. You never know what's going to happen in your business. I don't know what's going to go wrong, and I don't know when, but I can tell you something is going to go sideways for you in business, because that's just life. And the thing that makes it easier is more cash. And it's okay to say that, and it's okay to put money aside. And I don't suggest, having tons, cutting yourself off from a paycheck to save for emergencies, but usually 1 to 5% of your revenue, just slot it away. Even if it feels silly, it's only $10 or $15, you'd be surprised how quickly it adds up. And having it there is a great way to get better sleep at night. So a separate accounts for those two. And then beyond that, it's really whatever works for the business and the individual, because we're all wildly different. So in one of mine, I have a separate account just for my paycheck, and that's all, creating the
Oh,
steady
nice.
9 to 5 paycheck. That's what that account does. It's works like a well. When it rains, the well fills, and then during the dry season or when things are a little slower,
Right.
I just draw on the well.
Mhm.
And then I have what's called the growth account, and that's one of my favorites because it's there to take advantage of opportunities that I'm not even aware of yet. So we stash money aside into our growth accounts to say, either invest in new hardware or a new marketing expert or,
Mhm.
some opportunity that presents itself. And it's like, oh, look, now I can actually just pay for it with cash
Yeah.
and not have to have that again. How
Yeah.
can I bring in the revenue to pay for this? So it all works very, very seamlessly. And one of my businesses, I've literally been in business for a year, almost to the day. And using this architecture, not only have we been able to grow a shocking amount in a year, but I've also collected a paycheck. Myself and my partner have collected a paycheck every single week from that business because it's all portioned out. We know exactly where we stand. And, we can really be clear about how we want to grow the business and strategic about how we want to grow the business. Is it enough to replace a 9 to 5 income? No, absolutely not. There were definitely, there were weeks when we would pay each other. I would pay out myself and my partner like, $60, $70, but it was consistent and
Yeah.
it will only grow.
Right. Right. Time is flying by. Let us see. In the ever-changing entrepreneur world, how does adaptability and resilience in your mindset and financial strategies contribute to the sustainability of your business?
Oh my gosh. Here's the example I love to use when it comes to sustainability. Nobody saw COVID coming.
Yeah.
Like really, nobody saw it coming.
Yeah.
And some businesses survived, others didn't.
Yeah.
And when you're a business owner, you have to understand that things are not going to be perfect and roses and sunshine and bunnies every day. As much as we would love for that to be the case, it's simply not. And so we need to be ready mentally and strategically ready for those inevitable storms.
Right.
And that's where the mindset of this is okay, I've got this, I can handle it, and the strategy there to back that mindset up is so, so important.
Right.
So, let's say something crazy comes out of the weeds next week. Those with an emergency fund are going to fare a whole lot better than those without. And those businesses will have, that gives you the freedom, that gives you the time to either figure out a new method, a pivot of some sort. You may have to do that if something changes, or it'll give you the time to just wait out the storm. That might be the case. I think there was a local ice cream producer in town where we live, and they've had to weather a real nasty storm that they never saw coming, of legislation being dropped that they can no longer, sell wholesale. And they've been holding on because I think that I don't know them personally, but just seeing from the outside that they've been able to hold on this long, obviously they're managed very well because they've been able to pivot and take the time and go, okay, well, this big, huge chunk of our business is no longer available to us. How are we going to make that up? And having money available to cover your costs while you figure out that pivot is crucial.
Yeah. Well, we could probably talk for hours and hours, and I definitely want to have you come on to one of my summits that I have throughout the year, and a retreat. I think you'd be awesome to be a guest on a retreat where we can maybe do some work to help the folks at least maybe talk about what their buckets could be for these different bank accounts if they don't have them. So, your rapid fire question would be, what, if anything, do you have planned for the future that you never expected?
I can honestly say my entire life is not what I expected. And when I think of my, what I wanted from my adulthood growing up, I wanted to be Miss Corporate. in the suit and the heels. That was where I was headed.
Mm-hmm.
Personal finance and like corporate life. I was very excited, and that is not at all what I do. Not even for a minute. I mostly go to work in my leggings and slippers, and I love it.
I know.
And I work entirely online. I have a slew of courses that I've created that I just love and I'm so proud of. And so, things that I never saw coming was all of it. And the other one is the fact that I run 3 businesses. I never in my life would have thought in my wildest dreams that I would be a 3-time business owner. I, didn't even think I'd be 1-time business owner. It's crazy.
So in your family, do you have any other entrepreneurs?
I do. Actually, my dad was an entrepreneur. He ran his own business for my entire childhood. So I should have seen it coming, realistically.
I was just going to say. It's funny. It's almost like you were like, no, I'm going to do corporate because I want that solid paycheck every week. And I think that's the scary thing about going into becoming a business owner or an entrepreneur is that, how am I going to weather the storms? And I think your advice is just giving them that maybe somewhat of a security blanket of understanding that if you do this, you can be able to weather the storms.
Yeah, you can have, I hate using the have it all because that's got so many other connotations to it, but you can have the 9-to-5 security as a business owner. It just takes work. It just takes a little time, a little effort, and paying attention to your finances, to be really mindful about how these things are set up to create that security for yourself. Is it going to be created by someone else? No. But that's the whole point of going into business yourself, is so that you can call the shots.
Absolutely. Well, let me go ahead and share my screen so that those that are listening can go ahead and get your contact information. I'm sure that everybody is going to want to reach out. She says she has some courses. So if you've been intrigued at all by what Jen has talked about, you want to go to her website. It is https://www.dollardivas.org. Again, dollardivas.org. On LinkedIn, you can find her with her name, as well as in Instagram. And Instagram is where she likes to hang out. So definitely be sure to follow her there and chat throughout to engage with her. I'm going to let her talk to you about what you can find when you go to those locations.
Yes, absolutely. So on Instagram, that is the best place to find me. Don't forget, it's Jen Paterson with 1 T. And that's where I spend most of my time. Feel free to send me a DM if you have any questions, or if you're setting up an architecture and you're just not sure exactly how to navigate which buckets you want to set up for yourself, or how to talk to your bank. I'm always happy to answer those questions via DM, or we can have a quick call. That's no problem at all. And then also check out my website, dollardivas.org. That is where you can find a whole slew of freebies. So everything from my 50 money moves to make, which are really easy, quick things that you can do to improve your financial life. I have an awesome net worth calculator on there that is really very straightforward and intuitive. And I walk you through exactly how to use that, as well as some really fun stuff coming in the new year, a new workshop on how to create a 9-to-5 paycheck without the 9-to-5 hassle. And of course, all my courses, Business and Money 101 and the Simple Money Roadmap.
Fantastic. Well, Jen, it's been just wonderful. And we definitely have to do some more podcasts together and maybe pick out certain topics to spend a little bit more time on. But the invitation is open for you to join me on one of my summits, as well as I definitely will keep you on my list for a retreat guest, because I think it would be great for you to interact with some small group to be able to really change their lives.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I'd love to be a part.
Yeah, awesome. All right. So as always, I remind everyone that life is a journey and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.